Assalamu alaikum. My name is Qasim Hussain, 15 years old, and a student of Heather Islamic School and leader of my Destiny class. Today I will be presenting this show with
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Daniel and I'm 16 years old. This show will discuss a few of the many reasons why some of the Muslim youth are slowly but surely distancing from Islam. We would also like to explore potential solutions to these problems.
This show is by the youth for the youth and takes the format of posting relevant questions to experts in the area for specific answers.
To help us, we have with us Maulana Sayyid Ali Raza Rizvi, and many may know he is a world-renowned public speaker and orator. Salam Maulana, how are you?
Alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah, alhamdulillah.
Thank you for joining us. We'd love to ask you a few questions that are based on issues that have emerged from the youth who are experiencing some problems. Any solutions you would have to offer would be welcome.
So, the first question is, how do friendship groups affect the youth?
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Friendship groups, or you can say peer pressure, can have a toll. And there are many ahadith that says, especially Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salam, that a man is known by the company he keeps. In English, you also have a proverb. So the company affects you. Even if you think that you're very strong psychologically and you're very strong in your upbringing, your training, your nurturing has been very strong. No matter what you do, you will still pick up good and bad habits from the friends that you sit with. And sometimes, without realization, you pick up words, and the way a person greets and the way a person meets. So there are certain Islamic norms and values that when you greet a person, you shake hands or you say salam and you smile, or you sometimes, and certain words are, there is a hijab or a veil of the tongue, and the tongue has to be in control. When you sit in a company, sometimes it has an impact on your personal life as well. When a person says that my career is going to be this, or I'm going to be making money in this manner. As a young person, you are learning without realizing from every interaction that you have, and from every person that you meet, from every board sign and every street that you're walking in. Without you realizing, you're picking up things, you're learning. And hence there are hadiths that say that the young or the youth of my ummah should visit Makkah and Medina more often, in the sense that meaning ziyarat. So there are Islamic history there, or they should, the tourism will teach you, there will be spirituality. So holidays are very good. Siru fil ard, wanzuru kayfa kana aqibatul mukaththibin. The Holy Quran says that travel on earth and you will acquire knowledge and you will learn about previous nations. But it is very important that you make sure that you have good company, your friends are good. And a good friend is an achievement of a lifetime. So do not lose your good friends. But it is extremely important that you do not ever pick up bad habits from your friends. So making friends in the way of Allah, and breaking friends for the sake of Allah. So if you have bad company or bad friends who are saying, you don't have to drink, but you can come to the pub with me, or you don't have to dance, but you can come to the club and let's go to them. You, without realizing, there are hadiths in Nabi Isa alayhi salam, Jesus alayhi salam, he said to his people, his disciples, he said, Moses told you, don't do bad things, and I'm telling you, don't even think about bad things. Maulana alayhi salam says that when you think about doing a crime, you are laying the grounds for it. So don't even think about crimes, because slowly you get drifted into those actions. So sometimes you're not only just picking up words, but your friends are telling you what they go up to, and therefore it is extremely important that you have good company and good friends.
Thank you, Maulana. Now for the next question.
Secondly, how does the educational system influence the youth?
Education system. Again, very important. I think the most important thing in life after the nurturing of your parents is education. And no matter what you do, you should have good schooling. Your teacher should be good. unfortunately, I don't want to go into some of the things that our teachers said in Qom. They said that even if a teacher is, of bad behavior or bad character, and it doesn't tell you anything about his character, you still pick up all of those things from that teacher. So education system is vital. You should have extremely good education in terms of academic. I'm talking about both religious and academic. So a lot of the times, sometimes we overemphasize on religious education, but we ignore the academic education. And sometimes there are people who completely focus on academic education and completely ignore religious education. There has to be a balance. Yeah. So recitation of, because there are many ahadith that says, haqqul waladi ala al-walid, the right of a son over father is that an yuhassina ismahu, that he gives him a good name. An yu'allamhu al-Quran, that he gives him the teaching of the Holy Quran. And wa an yuhassina adaba, he gives him good character, like good manners. So it is extremely important that your education system is good, not only just at home, not only just religious education, but your academic education. The future of this world is with people who have had strong grounding in education. And unfortunately, sometimes we live in areas where the schools are not good. So schooling and education is the most important thing after a good family.
Yeah, exactly. And I've also noticed that the Islamic education system is very different from Western schools, for example, in the morals that we learn.
Now, Islamic education system is based on a few things, beliefs, practices, and morals. Now, beliefs are in your heart. No one knows what you believe. No one cares about what you believe. What you do, practices, for example, the prayers and the fasting and the khums and zakat, these are between you and God. What affects the other people is your character, your morals. If you talk to a person smiling, they say that even, people have proven, psychologists have proven that even on a phone, when a person cannot see you and you talk to them smiling, they can sense it. Yeah. And if your mood's off and you say hello, they can sense it that your mood's off. Yeah. So your morals are the most important thing. And the Holy Prophet ﷺ says, that every religion has an identity, and the identity of my religion are morals. Yeah. So the Islamic education system is completely moral based. Being kind to parents, being kind to your spouses, your children, neighbors, your brothers and sisters, uncles and aunts, the extended family, the entire society. You cannot say, well, I'm just nice to my parents, or I'm only nice to my wife. I don't care about the others. No, Islam says that you have to care about everyone. And this world needs people with good morals.
Yeah. So speaking about morals and values, what do Western values and morals mean, and how are the youth implementing them? And is it negative or is it positive?
Excellent. Okay, now, I don't like the argument that the Western society is completely wrong or completely good. There are goods and bads in every society. And I think there is a lot of good in the Western society that we can learn from. Punctuality, truthfulness. The Holy Prophet ﷺ, even amongst the disbelievers, was known to be truthful and trustworthy. So that is the vital characteristic of every Muslim child and every Muslim youth. So there are so many characteristics that in the Western world, for example, giving importance to society, cleanliness, these are all Islamic values. But there are certain things which are missing. For example, drinking may not be wrong. So there are certain things that morally are wrong in Islam, and we have to make sure that we understand that there are a few things missing from the society. The rest of the things are fine. It is a completely Islamic society, except for a few things. For example, there is no relationship between the elders and youth. Yeah. So Islamically, you cannot just ignore the elder society. You have to play a major role in that. The other thing is, for example, relationship, husband and wife relationship. The honesty and the loyalty and modesty, or the term haya, we use al-haya'u min al-iman, haya, chastity. Chastity is a part of faith. So all of these things sometimes are overlooked. So you have to be chaste in your character. So these are some of the things that Islam overemphasizes on. And the Western society completely sometimes ignores and says it's a personal matter. So there are a few things that we need to pay attention to. And the rest of the things, I think, are fine. It's a very decent society. I don't have issues with everything. I only have an issue with a few things.
Are there any negatives specific for the youth, for example, in school, like backbiting or like dating or mixed genders?
Okay, so these are some of the things that Islam, emphasizes a lot. So backbiting is a very bad habit. It is regarded as one of the major sins. And in the Western world, you can not only just slander, you can talk bad about people, you can even share bad news about people. Islamically, all of that is forbidden. Now, one of the other things is that, for example, dating. Now, Islam only allows halal relationship. It does not allow you relationship outside wedlock. You can meet a person in Islamic manner with the intention of future selection of spouse. But it is not permissible for us to have any sort of relationship outside of wedlock. One of the other things that sometimes in the schools and everything you will hear because of the social media, the exposure to some of the things that Islam does not allow. So you can have friends which are from the opposite gender, but it is makruh, discouraged to talk for no reason with the opposite gender because it leads to many other things. So it is permissible, but what should happen is that one should keep that arm's distance that Islam says you have to. So you don't indulge into anything forbidden.
Thank you for that.
Also, speaking to my friends at school, I see that one of the largest struggles that they struggle with is music. What is our view on music?
So music is one of the most disputed topics in Islam. So there are sometimes views that all of it is permissible, sometimes it is completely forbidden, everything is forbidden. And then there are views which say that certain instruments are allowed and certain places, certain musics are allowed. So we have traditions on, for example, weddings. For women, women can sing and dance amongst themselves in a wedding. But there should be no men allowed, not even mahram. And secondly, the national anthem. So in that you can have music. And third are the army bands and anything that basically motivates a person. For example, exercise or something like that. But in that, it shouldn't be all sorts of music. So there are certain, for example, like drums or certain other things, instruments, which encourage you to exercise or something like that, but not songs or, for example, a man cannot listen to a woman's song, even if he's a disbeliever. It is not permissible. So there are so many details in music, and I think it is better that if you want to listen to good voice, then listen to Quran. There are many, many good reciters. Listen to nasheed, even if it is in your own language, not only just Arabic. There are many manqabat, qasidas, there are many, many different reciters. So there are many, many alternatives today, unlike previous times. There are hundreds, if not thousands, of reciters with beautiful voices that you can listen to in place of music.
Yes, thank you. Also, what would your final piece of advice be for the youth of today on how to maintain a strong relationship with Islam and Allah?
Excellent question. It is extremely important that there are 5 relations very quickly with God. That is through ibadat and through dua. Ibadat is basically service, prayers, fasting, recitation of Quran, and du'as, for example, in Laylatul Jummah and Shab Jummah, for example, in the Thursday, Friday night between Thursday and Friday, where you recite dua kumail or some dua. So there should be a relationship with God. I'm not going to go into details. Second, with the Holy Prophet and the Imams. So there should be a relationship with Sahib al-Zaman alayhi salam. It connects you to Islam. Third, with the Holy Quran and with the books, literature. Fourth, with your parents and relatives. And fifth, with other human beings. And there is a sixth, with the environment. that human beings have a responsibility towards the nature, through, for animals and birds and the plants. So we should have all of those relationships in place. And one should think that, do I have a relationship with God, with the Imam, with my parents? Do I talk to them? They like to be talked to. Elderly people in this country sometimes feel that they have no communication. And communication is the key. Yeah. Even with God, there is communication. You cannot just say, yeah, God exists. No, there is a relationship between you and God, and with the Prophet, with the Imam, and with your parents, with your brothers and sisters, with everyone in society. There is a strong relationship. Even with your neighbors. Here, many times you don't even know who your neighbors are. It's important you go and introduce yourself and say, I'm your neighbor. Yeah. If you ever need anything, then I'm there. So these are little things that you should have a relationship with.
The Quran also mentions a lot of things how you should speak well with neighbors, you should help them in times of need, etc.
Neighbors, and also, the Holy Quran and the Holy Prophet emphasized so much so that the companions believed that he was going to give them inheritance in your wealth. So neighbors are very important.
Another question, Maulana. What advice would you give the youth who are looking for a career, and what age should they be deciding what they should pursue?
It is extremely important, according to the Islamic teachings, that people from the age of 14, 15 onwards, because Imam says that the first 7 years, for example, they are your masters, and then your servants, and then the third 7 years, they are your friends. You should start from the age of 14 onwards, start taking advice and start treating them like adults. So from 14 onwards, a child should be very serious about what career they want to pursue in life. Secondly, they have the options of the GCSEs and A-levels, what subjects they choose, because that will determine what future career they will be taking up. The third thing is that from there onwards, they should be very clear about what they want to do in life, if they want to go into business or in an academic field or some sort of job. I personally do advise that people take up a lot of business ventures, and sometimes you can have 2 careers and 3. There are people now I have seen into not just one business, sometimes they're doing 2 or 3 successful businesses. I've seen in North America that people have 2 jobs, 2 professional jobs, and they do both of the jobs full time. I'm not saying that, pursue, just career and no personal life, but I'm saying that in early life you need to decide very quickly and be very professional in choosing your careers. One of the things that in Majlis Ulama I noticed across the country, across Britain, was that there was lack of career advisors in the Shia world. That helped young people to decide and to help what path they need to pursue, how to get to where they want to get to. So unlike many of the religions and many of the small faith groups, they have elders who are dedicated in advising the youth and helping them to choose their career, and advising them based on their own capabilities. So sometimes young people don't even know what their positive and negatives are. I don't think I ever knew as a teenager that I could be a public speaker. And I think we have hidden characteristics or hidden treasures within us, hidden abilities and hidden potential. So I think someone who can analyze you, they sit down, people who are career advisors, they're extremely intelligent, they listen to you, and they advise you that based on your, in many private schools and in some of the grammar schools I've seen that they actually pursue that method. They analyze the child and then they say that these are the different careers which are suited to your personality. And I think that should be done professionally for the Shia youth as well.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I've also seen that a lot of the time when youth try out, when people, like such as myself as well, try out new things, we didn't even know that we'd be good at it, but we were. So that's a really big turning point in our thinking.
That's what exactly I was trying to point out. You've picked up on beautifully, that it is extremely important that in our lives, many times we don't, because even people who've become older in their 20s and 30s don't realize their full potential. Can you imagine that some of the teenagers who think that they cannot pursue certain things because they don't even know their hidden capabilities? So it is extremely important that you put the children into that, or the youth into that position where they feel that I can do this.
Thank you, Maulana. Now, we are unfortunately out of time, so I'd just like to make a quick summary of the points that the Maulana has made. Islam is made for us to be easy, and so the youth can implement it easily and help them in their lives, not hinder us. The Maulana has given us examples of where we've neglected certain aspects, such as the environment or the elderly, which are really important and emphasized in the Quran, but due to Western values and our upbringing, we have neglected. For example, the environment, us South Asians have seen it as like we can litter, we can do this as long as we follow the Ahlulbayt and Quran, when Allah has given us the earth to preserve.
Thank you, Maulana, for joining us and helping the youth through the show to understand these issues better. And thank you to Ahlulbayt TV and Haydari Islamic School for helping us to create this online platform for the voice of the youth to be heard.
Thank you, the viewers at home, for watching, and I hope you can take something useful and get closer to Islam. Jazakallah and Khudafis.